Hello, everybody. Welcome back again, Bebitas Fifus, to your favorite freaky Greek program. Today, we're going to talk about DC Comics and its important facts. Let me introduce you to these amazing persons and fans of comics. Here, they will be joining us on this great podcast, Maximiliano, Shari, and Enzo. We will be talking about the history and important facts about DC Comics. My name is Andrea and welcome back again to this channel. DC was founded in 1934 under the name National Alien Publications. Later taking its current name in 1937, the initials DC are an abbreviation of Detective Comics, one of the company's first flagship titles. DC took a huge step by creating one of the most iconic superheroes of all times. And, of course, we are talking about Superman. The first illustrated comic book was published in June of 1938 and was created by Jerry Siegel, but later on the first Superman movie was filmed in 1951. Thanks to this, the DC Company started a new world of comic books of superheroes and later on will be shown in the movies. Also, we must add that DC Comics movies are not just live action. Years later, the first film they dubbed in the animation in 2007 with the movie The Man of Steel, which was an adaptation of the comic book The Death of Superman.
Through all this time, since the superheroes were created, a whole universe of them, there have been many alternate stories and alternate designs of each characters and always we can witness that. For example, let's talk about the most expressive and intelligent Dark Knight everyone loves. Of course, we are talking about Batman. Let's talk a little bit about the new movie, The Batman, that was released on 4th of March of this year. We have this emotional and immature Bruce Wayne starring as Batman, starring to save Gotham from these criminals and reviving traumatic experience that he had when he was younger.
But if you take a look on old Batman films, like for example the first one ever filmed, the one of 1989, produced and directed by Tim Burton, we can visualize a more mature and of course an older Bruce Wayne fighting crime, but with a different perspective and set of mind to fight crime. Also, his batsuit is really different because the new Batman of the most recent Batman film has a more complex tech armor suit than the one Michael Keaton used to wear for the films. Also, we can tell there has been an improvement in the CGI. Thanks to our technology, things look way more realistic than before. And of course, DC Comics has not left behind this type of special effects for the better. Even fans have considered that DC Comics have the best quality of CGI compared to Marvel Comics.
In the modern day, DC's main focus is to rival Marvel in the movie industry. They currently have a 10-year movie plan in which their main focus is not only to mirror Marvel movie success, but to also focus on the quality of the product. Given how Marvel is pumping out hundreds of hours of content each year, DC is planning to take slow and steady in order to realize content of highest quality.
In comparison to Marvel, DC has made sure that their special effects and CGI is only of the best quality possible. Another thing in which DC is better than Marvel are the superhero suits in movies, as Marvel has gotten more comfortable with the use of CGI and they have begun to put their actors in mocap suits and then add the suit in post-processing. On the other hand, DC has stayed using practical effects, which are not only cheaper than CGI, but in the right hands, practical effects can look better than CGI. Given how things are going right now for Marvel and DC, in the long term, DC has a good chance of overtaking Marvel in the cinema industry. But DC is not only focused on the cinema industry, they also have a long list of running and upcoming animated series and live-action TV series. These range from their already well-known characters like The Flash and Harley Quinn to newer ones like Peacemaker. All of these have been running for some years, while others are yet to see the light of day. We hope to see these new characters in future films with great stories filled with action, suspense, and plot twists.
I honestly must say I'm a huge fan of comic books, and of course, DC Comics has stolen my heart since the beginning, especially because of their video games, and I am a very big Batman fan. The films are amazing. I love the aesthetic they have and how they portray the character differently, but with, a couple of similarities. I have to say I love every Batman movie. The animated ones are awesome, and so do the live action ones. My favorite definitely is the most recent one that was released this year, starring Robert Pattinson. Even though it was a very dark film, but I have to say it had an amazing story and a very impressive change of perspective of the character. Because how we mentioned before, we can see a more childish Batman with still psychological problems because of the death of his parents. I can confirm it is the best Batman movie of all times because it shows how he is more in the comics, like in the beginning of being the superhero. So it will be a 5 stars for me, honestly.
Some DC Comics characters have been around for over 80 years, making them some of the longest lasting comic books characters in existence. As we heard before, Superman was the first superhero to be reflected in an illustrated comic. But, putting that aside, do you know that DC oldest superheroes are? And in case you didn't know, let me mention some. For example, Wonder Woman, Icon, Psylocke, Martian Manhunter, among others. Also, did you know that DC Comics has 197 superheroes? The truth is that I'm shocked by this enormous number of superheroes that DC Comics has, in addition to the fact that the rights of the word superhero are shared properly between DC Comics and Marvel.
I personally think that DC puts a lot more effort into their movies, as they take all the time and resources needed in order to deliver a quality product for the public. It doesn't matter if it's a series, a movie, or animated, DC always makes sure that everything is done in the best way possible, at least most of the time. And with their upcoming projects that are currently in development, I believe that DC are going in the right direction.
We all know the iconic character of Bruce Wayne, who due to the traumatic death of his parents, set out to fight the crime. Thus began the famous superhero, Batman. We can see the evolution or how the character of Batman is transformed through the movies. For example, the first to be filmed was in 1989, produced and directed by Tim Burton. In this, we can see mature Bruce Wayne, and his mentality was to fight the crime. Another example is the Batman that came out this year, which we can highlight is a more depressive and intelligent Batman. But the movies are an important factor if we want to see how the same character progresses according to the audience. I thought Superman is the DC's most famous and important superhero. Batman has the most comic book appearance, around of 6,250.
Well, what do you think about DC Comics? Did you like it? I hope so. Thanks for listening us. See you!